Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're going to be continuing using stencils with our card making. And I'm using a Tim Holtz, this is one of the mini stencils, and I'm using the stamp set from Kindred Stamps. And it's the Murder Mystery stamp set. And I love it because it's based off of the movie Clue, like the game Clue. So I've already pre-colored in and fussy cut out all of my figures. And now I'm going to work on doing the stenciling. I'm using scorched timber. No, not scorched. Why did I say scorched? Is it torched? I don't even know what this color is. I've been like anti this color since it was the last one. Yeah, scorched timber. And we're going to go ahead and color in. I'm using only about, I would say I'm leaving about a quarter to a half an inch. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. Without any of the stenciling. But what I just did there was I adjusted the stencil to continue the pattern. And that way it looks like it's one entire piece instead of me having to, pick it up and put it down. This stencil is very easy to line back up again because the pattern just keeps repeating. And I'm just using a little bit of washi tape to hold it down. These are mini, so I mean, you could use your pixie spray or your pixie dots if you want. I have a Simple Stories washi tape. It's in the Color Vibes, it's wood grains. And I've used that because it's not very tacky and yeah, it'll hold for what I need it to do. So those are our two cards with our stenciling complete. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to figure out one placement for sentiment and our figures. And then I'm also going to decide that basically I want to use some, what are these called? From Love from Lizzie, the strips, and now I can't even think what they're called. They have a name, and someday I'll think about it. But before we start putting this card together, I'm going to take one of the new colors, which is Antique Linen in the spritz, and we're going to drop some splatters all over the card front and let it dry. The spritz do dry pretty quickly, but you just want to be careful because you don't, I did have a little bit of smudging, and that's because I grabbed it before it was dry. So you got to be aware. Make sure you have a space for you to put your stuff when you're doing splatters, especially if you have more stuff that needs to be done on top of it, because you want to make sure it's completely dry. Now we're going to take our card bases and we're going to use our cutter. I'm just going to leave the tray, the thing up, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and drag it along at 5.5, so that way it creates a crease. So you can do that if you don't have a scoreboard or anything like that. At the time, I couldn't find mine, so it worked fine. So now the card fronts are folded. I'm going to figure out the insides because remember, our front panels are drying still. So on the one card, I'm going to put happy and then a smaller birthday to you. This is from a stamp set from the Ton. And I really like the flower, but I wanted to use the sentiments. And you're probably going to see the sentiment quite a few times in the series just because sometimes you just need more happy birthday cards than anything else. But I really liked showing you that you could do the similar cards, one with just a simple happy birthday, and then the other with a fun inside sentiment, which is, let me do this. It says, thanks for being my partner in crime. solving. Sorry. Yeah. Thanks for being my partner in crime solving. And then on the front, what we're going to do is for the crime solving one, we're going to put, I'd help you hide the body. And then the inside is cute. And then on the birthday one, it says, it would be a true crime not to wish you a happy birthday. And then you open it up and it says, happy birthday to you. Really cute cards. And I had, I want to say it was an odd number of figures because you have the butler. So on the inside, on one, I have the butler. And on the other one, I have Professor Plum and Mrs. Peacock. And then on the front, we're going to wind up having Colonel Mustard and Mr. Green and Scarlet and Mrs. White. And I'm just looking through, trying to figure out exactly what color. So I decided to do this gold. I really like it because it's more like a brushed gold. So it's not, it has a little bit of a shine to it, but it's very subtle. And I just line it up as best I can. It's going to finish off that side so that way the actual stenciling looks like it's completed and it's a nice line. You know what I mean? It's not going to look like you didn't fill it in all the way. Okay. And then I always put a little bit extra over on the edge so that way when I glue it down, the strip is nice and secure. Okay, so that's one, and we're going to go ahead and work on the other one. Oh, I'm going to put down the sentiment first. That's right. So on this one, it's it would be a crime not to wish you a happy birthday. And then I'm just figuring out how I'm going to do my guys. So I'm going to put Mr. Green flat to the card after I put the sentiment down. And then I'm going to use some foam tape to pop up Colonel Mustard and have him be on the edge. I like how that turned out. And then we got one. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the foam. I know you can't see it because it's a little off screen, but I just put a little bit of glue. It gives you some wiggle room. So if you needed to pick it back up or readjust, you have that little bit of time. So there's one. And now we're going to finish up our second card. If you like this series using the stencils that we have, I know a lot of times a lot of the processes are the same, right? You're either inking through it, you can spray, spritz and other mica sprays and stains with the stencils. There's so much you can do. There's even a portion of it where you can emboss with your like cutting machine. Of course, mine is so far away, that's why I don't do it on camera. I have the Gemini and it's a little cumbersome to bring it over. But I'm doing the same exact thing that we did on the other card. We already put our Love from Lizzie strip on there. And now we're inking up and getting ready to do the front of the card sentiment because I hadn't had this pre-stamped. I'd help you hide the body. And then we're going to trim it down. So that way we can put it on the card front and do the same technique with our last two characters. And when I say I'm obsessed with Clue, I am obsessed with Clue. I got to see the live stage version of it in September, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the movie. I watched the movie probably more times than I should admit, and it always makes me laugh, and it's a good time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put that sentiment down, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take Mrs. White, and I'm going to glue her straight down. And then I'll take and put some foam tape behind Scarlet. And I am going to trim that a little bit because it was a little bit of the foam tape was hanging over. But I'll take off the backing, add some glue, and then we're going to put her on the edge of the sentiment. Now, she covers up a little bit more of Mrs. White, but it's okay, because at the end of the day, that sentiment is a little bit shorter. So that's why winds up being a closer fit, I should say. And then my last one, which is Mrs. Peacock, I put inside with Professor Plum. And it's funny because he's holding the gun in his hand like at her. It's funny to me. But I just think these are so cute. I don't know who's going to get them in the mail, but I just think they are adorbs. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. You're going to see close-ups of each of the cards. Like I've always said, if you have any questions, just leave them down below. And if you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow my channel, as you guys know. And after a few years of loss, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So just thank you guys for sticking out with me, and I will see you next Friday with our next video. Have a great one.